He started the match as a middle blocker and ended it a legend. This is not just a comeback, it's volleyball sorcery in the Olympic spotlight. The setup before the storm. Welcome to one of the most jaw-dropping, heart-thumping, sweat-gripping comebacks in international volleyball history. We're diving into the 2012 Olympic men's volleyball final between Russia and Brazil, a match that flipped the script harder than a pancake at brunch. Brazil came in hot, winning the first two sets with scores of 25-19 and 25-20, showcasing textbook volleyball, laser-sharp serves, airtight blocks, and killer spikes. At this point, most fans were already prepping their "Congrats Brazil" tweets. But volleyball, my friends, is a game of momentum, and Russia was just getting warmed up. Act 1. Tactical Genius Unleashed. While Russia was fading 2-0 behind Brazil in the gold medal final of the 2012 London Olympics, the air reeked of defeat. And then came a change that rocked the world of volleyball. Vladimir Alekno, Russia's coach, took a risk. He sent Dmitri Muzurski, his giant middle blocker, to opposite hitter, a dramatic tactical change that turned the match around. To those unfamiliar with volleyball, it's like asking your tight-lipped chess grandmaster to switch styles mid-match, from defense to full-on offense. Middle blockers generally focus on quick attacks and center net defense. They're specialists, not typically tasked with handling high-pressure swings from the wings or back row. Opposite hitters, on the other hand, are the team's firepower, the go-to attackers who handle high sets and take on aggressive swings from the right side. By turning Muzurski into an opposite, Alekno gave him room to stretch his attacking range. Instead of being limited to fast middle hits, he was now in position to receive high balls and unload his blistering spike from the right side, launching attacks that Brazil wasn't prepared for. And because of volleyball's rotation system, this shift meant Muzurski would spend more time in the front row during crucial points where his height and timing could dominate net play. What made this shift so great was the psychological ripple effect. Brazil had been practicing to deal with Russia's typical configuration, but now their block patterns, defensive systems, and beat were disrupted. Their defenders had to make adjustments in the middle of the game to an attacker not only enormous, 2.18 meters tall, but now omnipresent on the court, penetrating and towering over their block. This level of surprise formation shift is not often attempted at the Olympic level and, when successfully executed, entirely game-changing. Even more impressive, Muzurski not only kept stride, he sent teams packing. His whopping spike reach of an incredible 375 centimeters was Russia's trump card. At his new position, Muzurski registered a record 31 points at match's end, and his offensive firepower shifted the balance as Brazil wrestled to keep up with the unleashed storm. Alekno's reputation as a no-nonsense tactician with an intuitive touch for flexibility was forged that day. More so than admired, his skill in turning the tables on the odds and trusting in the elasticity of his player turned what seemed to be a guaranteed defeat into a David and Goliath-esque turnaround. And while Muzurski had previously dabbed with the inverted position, never had he so tried it on such epic proportions, with so much at stake and with such splendor. This was not astute coaching, it was master-level volleyball chess, with Alekno pushing his players into out-of-character roles and Muzurski using the court as his own highlight reel. Act 2. The comeback begins. The third set of the 2012 Olympic men's volleyball final was where the tide turned, and it wasn't subtle. Brazil, already up 2 sets and leading 22-19, were just 3 points away from gold. The crowd at Earl's Court was electric. The samba drums were metaphorically pounding, and Brazil's coach had even subbed in retiring legend Ziba for a ceremonial finish. But Russia wasn't ready to roll over. In fact, they were just getting started. Dmitri Muzurski, now fully unleashed in his new role as opposite hitter, began to dominate the net with a mix of brute force and surgical precision. His attacks weren't just powerful, they were disruptive. Brazil's block, which had been airtight in the first 2 sets, started to crack under the pressure. Russia clawed back to 22-22, saving 2 match points at 24-23 and 25-24, and finally took the set 29-27 when Murilo Andres faltered under Muzurski's relentless pressure. That third set wasn't just a win, it was a psychological haymaker. Brazil's rhythm, once fluid and confident, became jittery. Their reception faltered, their sets lost tempo, and their hitters, Wallace, Murillo, Donchi, started missing the mark. Russia, on the other hand, looked reborn. Their side-out efficiency surged, and their blocking, led by Maxim Mikhailov and Sergei Tetuhin, began to shut down Brazilian offense. In the 4th set, Russia took control early. Mikhailov, who had been steady throughout the match, now stepped into the spotlight. His spike efficiency, 44.9% successful hits, was elite, and his ability to find seams in Brazil's defense kept the scoreboard ticking. Russia led 8-7 at the first technical timeout and never looked back. Brazil's errors piled up, serves into the net, spikes sailing long, and Russia capitalized, taking the set 25-22. By now, the momentum had fully shifted. Brazil's body language told the story. Heads down, shoulder slump, and communication breaking down. Russia, meanwhile, were roaring with every point, feeding off the energy of their comeback. Muzurski had scored 17 points across the 3rd and 4th sets alone, and Mikhailov was matching him with clutch plays and relentless pressure. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a full-blown volleyball uprising. Russia had gone from being 3 points away from defeat to forcing a 5th set with swagger, precision, and sheer willpower. Act 3, sealing the gold with a spike. The 5th set of the 2012 Olympic men's final volleyball was not merely a decider, but a coronation. Russia, who had fought back from 2 sets down, stormed into the final set with the kind of swagger only bred from having defied the edge of disaster. Brazil, who had been in complete command initially, were now reeling, rhythm lost, and confidence shattered. Russia wasted no time. They surged to an 8-4 lead at the changeover, with Maxim Mikhailov and Dmitri Muzurski continuing their assault on Brazil's defense. Muzurski, who had already racked up a record-breaking 31 points, was now in full beast mode. His spikes were not just powerful, they were demoralizing. Brazil's block, once a fortress, had become a turnstile. One of the most symbolic moments came when Alexei Obmachayev, Russia's libero, yes, the defensive specialist who rarely scores, accidentally deflected a ball that dropped in for a point. It was the kind of play that screamed, "Even our defense is scoring now." Brazil's Donchi Amaro hit long, and Russia extended their lead to 12-6. The final rally was pure drama. Muzurski launched a thunderous spike that looked like match point, and Russia began to celebrate. But wait, the officials ruled it out. The point was awarded to Brazil. A hush fell over the Russian bench, but Muzurski wasn't done. On the very next play, he rose again, this time with surgical precision, and spiked the ball cleanly to seal the match 15-9. Russia had completed the reverse sweep, 19-25, 20-25, 29-27, 25-22, 15-9. It was their first Olympic gold in the men's volleyball since 1980, and the first under the Russian Federation name rather than the USSR. The players piled on top of each other in celebration, a chaotic leap of joy, disbelief, and triumph. Brazil, meanwhile, were left stunned. They had been 3 points from gold in the 3rd set. Now they were silver medalists, undone by a tactical masterstroke and a 7'2" titan who redefined what it means to flip a match. Closing, why this match is iconic. And that was how history was rewritten at Earl's Court. On the cusp of defeat, Russia hacked out a win which still resonates today, not through raw brute force, but through belief in flexibility, belief in chemistry, belief in rewriting a script that everyone else had believed was complete. In a sport where it makes its money in milliseconds, reaction time, and rotations, this game reminded us that nothing is ever done until the last whistle. For new volleyball fans, it's the gateway drug, a heart-stopping, strategic-filled soap opera that reveals to you just how exciting the game can be. And for old-timers, it's the tale you revisit again and again, one which reminds you why you initially fell in love with the game. So the next time someone says volleyball is all bumps and sets, show them this match, the one where a middle blocker became the hero and a coach gambled with legacy on the line and won.